architecture eternally unheard by the majority of the internet. Wow, that got a little depressing at the end there. Hi guys, welcome back to User Experience Points. If my epic narration didn't give it away, we're talking about Soul Calibur V this week. I mainly chose this game because of its excellent character creation system, but while I was digging around I found a few other really cool examples of excellent UX design that I definitely want to talk about. So let's get right to it. When I first started the game, which the last time would have been maybe 2012, the first thing I saw was a message about downloadable content. Normally this sort of thing would be pretty annoying, but thanks to some very well written copy and how easy it was to either dismiss this message or just go ahead with it, I definitely consider it actually a pretty pleasant experience. This is actually pretty impressive since essentially what you're doing here is downloading some content for the game, but not actually getting it. See, it's a store update, so now you can actually see these items when other people have them and they'll show up in your DLC store within the game. I do see the benefits of this because it makes the game's store easier to use, and when you actually do decide to purchase these items, you'll get them instantly because your system kinda already has them. With the completely justifiable level of mistrust that consumers have for downloadable content these days, writing copy for this sort of thing is extremely important. If you must deliver content in this way, it's best to just communicate exactly what's going on to the player, and I think the copy in this message does a pretty good job of doing that. Next, let's talk about the game's main menu that comes up right after you're done with the title screen. It's essentially a hub for everything you do in the game, and it does an excellent job for catering to the needs of someone who plays the game regularly. This very positive user experience is accomplished by seamlessly integrating multiplayer options into the main menu rather than sectioning them off into some separate multiplayer menu. You don't need to select Xbox Live or PSN to update your card that other players see, check out your friends who you've registered as rivals, and you can even view replays of old fights. I was delighted to see that some of mine were still laying around. Wow, I used to be pretty good at this game. The menu itself is actually pretty well designed from a usability perspective. Each item has a very clear description about what it contains. Though I would say that having the story mode selected by default is an odd choice. This is a fighting game after all, and I would be willing to bet that the story mode is definitely not the primary use case. Okay, alright, save the best stuff for last. Let's talk about character creation. If the footage I'm showing you now isn't enough indication, I really like this feature. It's perfectly designed for someone, well, like me I guess, who wants to make a ton of different characters. The tool itself that I'll dig into in a moment has an insane amount of freedom. It's super easy to copy characters, to create templates, or maybe make an alternate version of an existing character, and there's just a ton of character slots. I've almost used all of them. In fact, I used 2 more of them while recording this footage because I decided to make some Bloodborne characters and kind of forgot that I was recording. So let's get into the flow. It starts off simple and sequential. First, you decide if you're creating an alternate costume for one of the game's actual characters, or if you're creating a brand new character from scratch. Starting from scratch takes you on the step-by-step process of picking your fighting style, your gender, and your general body type. Even though all of these options are available to you in the actual character creation menu, I think it's smart that they start you off in a more step-by-step process. This way you're only thinking about the basic foundation for your character before you're dropped into the huge menu with a ton of different customization options. This trend continues in the main customization menu since one of the first sections you can dig into gives you a choice of a few starter outfits. That way, instead of just staring at a character in their underwear and not knowing what to do, you can be like, alright, I'm a ninja, but I want to change my color and add a scarf. From here, it's a head-to-toe process of figuring out your character's outfit. And after that, you have 3 slots for items that you can place literally anywhere on your character's 3D model. The controls for this work pretty well, though unfortunately the static pose that your character is put in doesn't quite reflect where the items are going to actually end up when your character is in motion. Once you're done with that, you've really only just gotten started. Every item that you put on your character can be individually colored, but there's also a really cool feature that allows you to color everything all at once, in case you say want to make your outfit all black. You can even retexture stuff, it's insane. Finally, once you're satisfied in that area, you get to choose your character's portrait. You can choose from a few select poses or looping animations, and then position a camera and select a background to give your character a unique portrait in the character selection screen. This is insanely cool, though unfortunately this menu is held back a little bit by the controls at the bottom of the screen. The controls for the camera and the controls for the menu on the left are constantly toggling between each other and almost never when you actually want them to. Instead of just looping between the 3 different sets of controls, it would make more sense to show the appropriate one at point of use. Or with some careful reorganization and a second row, they probably could have just shown them all on screen at once. It might be a little overwhelming, but at least they'd all be there instead of you having to wait when you want to see a specific one. And that's all I've got for this week. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, you should definitely subscribe because I upload a new episode of UXP every Friday. See you all next week.